It's time now for perspective. The pandemic has transformed the way we work, the way we socialised, and the way we consume culture. Here in France, cinemas, theatres, and museums are still closed until at least the 7th of January. But that doesn't mean the country's cultural institutions have been twiddling their thumbs. Responding to the unique challenges of 2020, scores of artistic establishments have shifted their focus online. My guest today is Paul Mourey, the Director of Digital Strategy at Paris's famed Pompidou Centre. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us here on France 24 today. Now, of course, museums are traditionally where people go to consume art firsthand. What exactly does a museum do when people aren't actually allowed in?
Well, in fact, digital has been a fantastic opportunity for us in 2020 to keep playing a role of public services and to keep sharing our passion for art. So we invested a lot on digital platform. When they announced the first lockdown, all the teams gathered and we thought about all the ways we could have used to keep talking and to keep sharing and to keep spreading art. And that's what we've been trying to do for almost a year now.
So what were the ideas that you came up with? What can we see on the Pompidou's website that we couldn't necessarily before the pandemic?
Well, in 2020, we launched a totally new website that gave access to every piece of art of our collection. We are lucky to have the biggest modern and contemporary art collection in Europe. And you can browse like the 100,000 piece of art we have in the collection. But we also have online courses as well, MOOCs. We launched a video game. We did some experiment on virtual reality around the three blues of Miro, which is quite stunning. We launched an online magazine. We have a video platform. We have podcasts, and of course, throughout all our social medias, we're trying to keep our job going.
And I've seen on your site you have a fair number of online gallery visits. How exactly did you go about putting them together? Because it's a very different experience to actually walking around yourself.
Absolutely. Well, we in the Centre Pompidou, we believe that nothing will ever replace the direct connection to a piece of art or to an artist. So we're trying to use it as a way to extend the experience, and we try to bring more value about the explaining of the art, to put the curators first in contact with the public. For example, for the Matisse exhibit, which was our big exhibit this year, it was heartbreaking for us to not be able to show it and open it the way we planned to do it. So we asked Aurélie Verdier, who's the curator of the exhibit, to directly do a virtual tour of the exhibition, and we launched this video directly on social media platform in free access. And the results have been quite stunning till now. We gathered about like 150,000 viewers on this visit itself.
And it's clearly going very well for you. But how do you get people onto your site? How do you publicise the fact that what you're doing has changed so hugely in recent months?
Well, in fact, the Centre Pompidou had a very strong history on social media platform and on digital platforms. We already had 3 million people following us on social medias. So it was quite easy, in fact, to say that we had like this new offer and this new excited content that was available. But I must say that we have been very surprised by the welcoming of our visitors to come see our content, because we multiplied at some period by 10 the numbers of video views, by 8 the number of podcasts, and it allows us also to give some light to the artists themselves, because the Centre Pompidou is not only a museum. We are a place where there's like a lot of things happening every day. We have performing arts, dance, music, theaters, and those artists haven't been able to be on stage. So we're trying to do our best to give a voice to them, to show the behind the scene, and try to get the excitement going so they could come back to see them on stage and see their creations.
There's been a lot of talk this year about how this push online has really led to the democratization of art. Is that something that you would see in those terms?
Absolutely, absolutely. What is fantastic with the digital platforms is that you have instant data about who's coming to see you and where they come from and who they are. And we noticed that we touched people that we were not used to have in our communities before. People from other parts of France, because we are a national museum, and it's very important for us to play a role of democratization throughout France, but also abroad, because we are trying to do as much as translated content and subtitles and everything to bring the image of the Centre Pompidou through the frontiers and to touch other countries. And we noticed that it actually worked, and we're very pleased at that. And we kind of hope that when we are able to open our doors again, we will have maybe a new audience.
Now, some doomsayers have been saying that this huge success of online art exhibitions, the sorts of things you've been talking about, will herald something of the death of the museum. What do you say to that?
Well, it's not something we're scared of. I think nowadays the digital platforms are the obvious companion to cultural institution. They will never replace the experience that you have in front of a Picasso or in front of a Miro or in front of someone performing on stage. So you have to use digital as a new way to bring content, value, and emotions. That's what we're trying to do, but we are not scared a bit of having people being just satisfied by online content. It's a way to reach other people who might think that modern and contemporary art are not for them. And we're trying to show that artists and art, and especially contemporary art, has a role to play in a crisis time like this, a role to play to open your mind, to also give a break to people from a very anxiety-inducing period. But art is also a way to question the world, and we have a lot of debates and artists, and that's what we are trying to do right now. But we're not scared for people not to come back.
Well, as a Paris resident, that's very reassuring to hear. Paul Mourey, Director of Digital Strategy at Paris's famed Pompidou Centre, thank you very much.